One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
All right, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, coming to you live from the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm here in my studio in West Seattle, so thank you for joining me this morning. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you've never seen me before, I'm here every Monday morning, or most Monday mornings, unless I'm traveling or I have a workshop. But I'm here Monday mornings at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is a 30-minute inspirational show where we talk about messages for the week, get you encouraged, get you inspired, get you thinking outside the box, get you thinking about life. What is life? What's life all about? The journey, what I call soul adventures, or a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. If you want to learn more about the work I'm doing, you can go to marclainhart.com or internet search the Intuitive Prospector. You can also find me through Alexa. Just ask to open up Positive Living, and you'll get spiritual daily tips on how you can interact with the unseen worlds. Topic I'll be talking about today is precognition. And what is precognition? How does precognition work? Is it real? Is it fake? But you can ask to open up Alexa, Positive Living app, and that'll stream daily messages. You can also catch me Wednesdays over on my podcast through Om Times Radio called Inspired Living Radio. This week I'll be talking the continued conversation about holding space for people during difficult, traumatic times, and what that you can do when when somebody passes away or somebody has a traumatic experience, sometimes we don't know how to respond. We don't know how to act. And, I've had a lot of death and dying, unfortunately, including the month of January, which is always such a tough month for me. However, I've learned to hold space for other people and allow people to move into their own healing space. And there's little tips I'll be talking about on my podcast, my live show this Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. That's internet radio. Just type in Inspired Living Radio, and you can pull up the show live, interact with the show from anywhere in the world. No username, password, no memberships required. And then it goes to a podcast format on iTunes and YouTube and SoundCloud and Podbean. MarcLainhart.com has all that information as well. So good morning to all of you. If you're back as a spiritual prospector in search of your own spiritual transformation, healing, or spiritual gold, thank you for joining me. And let's move into what I like to say, the magic of the moment. So take a nice deep breath with me. Just allow that good energy in. I always say breathe in love. Exhale gratitude. Have the attitude for gratitude that you're alive today, that you can Carpe Diem today, and we do that over a cup of coffee. So grab your coffee. I've got my man mug this morning. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your protein shake, grab your water. Let's spend 30 minutes talking about some inspirational encouragement stuff, things that make you go, I'm going to be talking about precognition because it's something that I did yesterday. And I'm also going to be talking about the Palindrome Day, which was yesterday, something that hasn't happened in over 909 years. What is it? Some of you may not even know what happened yesterday. I always look at, on a daily journey, I always look at numbers. I'm a numerologist, so I work with numbers. And the reason I work with numbers is because we're the only species that measures our life by time. No other species on Earth does that except for humans. That's why we wear this thing called a watch. We have a construct of hours, time in a day, a path around the sun. And also a lot of what we do in our daily journey incorporates numbers, technology, the calendar, time that you got to be at work, time that you got to, some of you may be watching from work this morning on a Monday morning. And that's why I do my shows on Monday mornings, because it's such a low vibration day, and it's a great way to really kick off and own the week and get the week started for what's right for you. So let's talk about first yesterday's Super Bowl win. That ties into today's message about precognition. I always challenge, I always do this as a Super Bowl prediction. I've been interviewed a few times, Huffington Post a few times. I did this with my spiritual development group. I had them pick the winner of yesterday's Super Bowl, 49ers or Chiefs. And what numbers did you see for the final score? And I took it one step further. Who would be the MVP? So precognition is something that we see, and it's a pseudoscience, not always proven, but it's not disproven either. And I'll talk a little bit more in depth about that. But yesterday I predicted that the Kansas City Chiefs would win, and the score that I saw was 31-17, and the MVP I saw was Patrick Mahomes. Now I saw it here. I don't ever see it here. I always see it, and that's in itself a sense of precognition. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm not one. I don't bet on sports because I'm really not good at picking when it comes to sports. Now, working with people, working with the unseen world, and those that aren't here anymore, much better. But when it comes to actual sports, spirit world doesn't care about sports. I just do it more for just entertainment purposes. But the score that I was seeing was 31-17, Chiefs winning. And the 31 was based on, we're in the year of the 4, 2020. It was Palindrome Day, so I knew that there was going to be some 2 energy in this, because yesterday was 02/02/2020. And if you follow Palindrome, it's something that you can say frontwards and backwards with the same numbers in its sequence. And like I said, it hasn't happened in over 909 years, and it won't happen for another 101 years. And so it's a very interesting day. But it was also, yesterday was 33, which is a master number. We're 33 days into 2020. We're also 333 days until the end of this year, until we go into 2021. So my numbers were actually based on numbers that correspond to the year. 31 equals 4, and 17, 1 plus 7 equals 8, which is part of the 4 energy. So I did 31-17. I didn't think that I was going to get it right, to be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. And I was even getting a little bit of people, jabbing at me and poking me like, oh, looks like you got the score wrong. And then, within the last few minutes, the Kansas City Chiefs turned it around. They came back, and the final score was 31-20. So I was off by 3. Again, the 3 energy. and Patrick Mahomes was the MVP. So there was a couple people jabbing me yesterday, like, oh, you're not going to get this right. So, and when you do prediction, that's the type of stuff, especially in social media today in the world we live in, you're going to have people that come at you from all different angles. But it was something that I just saw, and I trust myself to put my information out there and trust that the universe that it will line up. And I'm just, precognition is sometimes just seeing the outcome before it actually takes place, and then that timeline catches up. And I'll talk about causality, I'll talk about physics, the law of physics, I'll talk also about quantum mechanics, how that all works when it comes to the psychic energy of what it is that I do. But I thought it was fun. It makes you watch the game a little bit more, but the final score was 31-20, so I missed it by just 3 points. And not coming from a place of ego, guys. It's fun. It's, not about being right or wrong. It's just, seeing sometimes the things that you see. Are you really, some of you watching may feel like, God, am I going crazy? Did I really see that? Did I dream that? Do I know that? Is that deja vu? And a lot of us have this ability of precognition, the ability to see before it actually happens. Now, I always believe in, the laws of causality and cause and effect, and also your free will and choice to make different things. Nothing's ever, in my opinion, set in stone, because it's always like a flow of the river, I guess, never knowing which way the river's going to flow. You can only stand in the river once in the same space with the water hitting you. So, a lot of fun. I'm glad that January is over. I always say January is a tough year, and if we can make it through January, I can get through the rest of the year, because January, it's funny, because I was talking to my counselor, and we were talking about January usually has a higher rate of deaths and suicides because people wait until after the holidays to make their transition or hold on, or unfortunately take their lives to move past after the holidays are over. So it's kind of an interesting statistic about the month of January. So many people don't resonate with January. I personally don't like January. I've lost both my brothers in the month of January, and some other friends along the way, and family members that have passed in January. And so, it's a tough month. So I always say January was a tough year. We made it through. Now we're into February, the month of 2, which is peace. And I hope that you have a fantastic year ahead. I hope that you have a fantastic week ahead. And most importantly, I hope you have a fantastic day ahead. Because a lot of this is about the magic in the moment and being in that moment in time today. Not about the past. Your memories make your past come alive, and you can't change that. But a lot of us like to carry it as a life sentence versus a life lesson. And our imagination, which is powerful, and creativity, can create a future that's not guaranteed. So I always remind people to find the magic in the moment. That's very, very important. I call it the magic in the moment, and it's followed by shine, because it's just a reminder. So let's talk about yesterday's cool 02/02/2020. It's a palindrome date, and it's just an abundance of zeros and twos, and it's the first international palindrome dates. So the last one was, if I remember correctly, was 11/11/11/11. So the 1100s was the last. So 909 years ago was the first time in history that we've actually celebrated this palindrome day of 2/2/2020 and all two. So again, you can read the number forwards and you can read the number backwards. And like I said, it had a master number of 33. If you follow numerology, you know what I'm talking about is a master number, which is 33. It's the highest of the resonating vibration numbers, and it's the highest you can go in numerology. If you don't follow numerology, research it. It's just kind of interesting how it works. But what I found interesting yesterday from the Super Bowl, with the 33 days into the year and 333 days to go until the end of the year, the coach that won the Super Bowl yesterday, now this is interesting. I did not know this. This did not play into my prediction yesterday of the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl 31-17 over the 49ers. Coach Reed, who is the coach of the 49ers, it was actually his 222nd win all time, 222. Now, again, synchronicity, coincidental, that's just interesting to me to see that synergy that flows, those similarities. And I didn't know that until they were actually, announcing the MVP, which went to Patrick Mahomes, which I had predicted. But I did not know that it was his 222nd win. And it's the first Super Bowl he's won. And he's been coaching for many years. Like I think somebody said 40, 50 years he's been coaching, and this is his first Super Bowl win. So congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs in Missouri, Kansas, not the state of Kansas. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, go research senior leadership of congratulating the team in the wrong state. So you can't make this stuff up. I'm sorry, I don't get into politics, but it's just like, oh my God. So that is the Kansas City Chiefs from Missouri, Kansas. It's not Kansas, not the state of Kansas. Check out Palindrome if you never knew what yesterday. If yesterday was an interesting day for you, if there was just a lot of interesting things going on, or synergy, or synchronistic, or coincidences, it was a Palindrome day, and it's not going to happen again until 12/12 of 2021. So again, 101 years until we actually have that kind of synergy, that flow of numbers. And some of you may not even care. That's fine too. So I just pay attention. I always say that your external environment can have an impact on your internal environment, whether it's a full moon cycle, planetary alignment, for those of you that follow astrology, or your horoscope. I follow it from a numbers, numerology standpoint, and I just thought it was an interesting day. It was, at the same time, we had somebody pass away yesterday, so my condolences to the family. Just a heartfelt condolences on the passing. It's an interesting day to pass on. But in my family, we've had a family member that's passed on, but we've also had a new family member come into the family, and believe it or not, they're at the same hospital on the same day. So it's just the circle of life. It's just interesting synchronicities and synergies that always interest me. When in two different parts of the family out, my extended family out. My nephew had his first daughter, and on the other side of the family, we had a former family member pass on. And it's just interesting to be at the same hospital at the same time frame. So things that make you go, So there's a quote from Stephen King, as I want to talk about precognition and what is precognition. And if you follow books, if you follow writers, Stephen King is just absolutely, he's out there. But he talks about, I think it's relatively easy for people to accept something like telepathy or precognition or teleplasm, because their willingness to believe doesn't cost them anything. It doesn't keep them awake at nights, but the idea that evil that men do lives after them is unsettling. And that's from Stephen King. He talked a lot about precognition. He talked a lot about telepathy and seeing things before they happen. If you follow Gene Roddenberry, who was the creator of Star Trek, and we've seen Star Trek since the 1960s, a lot of people don't know that Gene Roddenberry was actually a seer. He was actually somebody that saw the future, and a lot of the stuff that he's written about has been engineered, and we now can say a lot of the stuff that we have engineered our future on was science fiction at one point, and then it becomes science fact based on catching up to that timeline. So what is precognition? How many of you even know what precognition is? Not to be confused with precognition, which is Scott's law, or premonition. Precognition is from the Latin word, and it just means before. So precognito just means before or acquiring knowledge. And as I started to move into psychic energy and metaphysics and spiritualism and mediumship, I've spent the last decade really kind of just researching all this stuff. Like, one, does it hold truth? Does it hold validity? I come from a background of, life-saving, fire service, Coast Guard, so a lot of critical thinking, a lot of reasoning, a lot of analytical thinking. And so I've just kind of done my own research, I put myself as a guinea pig, to be honest with you, and if this stuff is really real. And really all it is, some call it pre-science, some call it future vision, future sight. Psychics work a lot with this, and psychic just means of the soul, guys. The word psychic, if you break the word psychic down, it just means of the soul, and it's your own soul. It's your own journey, and it's, some would call it a paranormal phenomenon. And there's no accepted, as of right now, there is no accepted scientific evidence that precognition is a real effect, but it's a pseudoscience. And if you don't know what pseudoscience is, it means that you can't prove it, but you can't disprove it either. I've said for a long time in some of my predictions, upcoming predictions in 2020, technology will allow us to start proving some of this stuff that is pseudoscience. First contact, are we alone in the universe? I think that's going to come into play. The phone, as I'm broadcasting through my iPhone right now, a lot of people don't realize that the phone was first created to talk with the dead, not the living. And that construct, or that theory, that hypothesis, that now turned into this little black box that I sit before you, that Nikola Tesla saw back in 1865. He talked about this little black box that people could talk into and see people around the world, and people thought he was a witch, people thought he was a warlock. And he worked a lot with energy and frequency and vibration. And he's the one that said, if you want to unlock the secrets of the universe, think in those terms of energy, frequency, vibration. So it's just very interesting when you start to go prospecting. That's why I'm the Intuitive Prospector, because I don't tell people how to, what they should believe or how they should do something. I just present my information, my experiences, my traumas, my tragedies, my story. And if people resonate with that and they want to go prospecting with me on their own soul adventure for transformations, healing, their own spiritual goal, that's what I do. I get people, that say that I'm trying to sell them something. I'm not trying to sell them on anything. It's your own prudence to be informed and to decide what is right for your journey. And today, precognition is the ability to see something before it happens, and then that timeline can catch up. Now, there is the principle. I work with physics a lot, and I work with laws, universal laws, and causality, cause and effect is, what causality is. It's the cause and effect. Is, can you cause something by seeing something in the future to act differently before you catch up to that timeline? And a lot of people do believe that precognition, that hunch of just knowing something's going to happen. Maybe you just knew, somebody from your past was going to call, or there's been people that have had precognition of not getting on a plane because they saw that the plane was going to crash. I wish people would have had precognition before they got on that helicopter with Kobe Bryant and his daughter and those families that were in that horrible helicopter accident, because it was really, it could have been avoided. I think you're going to see this helicopter company go out of business because there's now things coming up that the pilot wasn't, validated to fly in that type of weather. It was tragic, and I wish people would have more precognition to be like, maybe we shouldn't fly today, because that ripple effect of sadness, and maybe it's supposed to happen. Again, the law of causality, cause and effect. Maybe that tragedy with everything that's going on in the world helps bring people together. I always look at that as well. And even so, very tragic and sad, but it also brings hope and inspiration and love. And is that, causality. But precognition works when you have a hunch, when you feel like something's going to happen. Like I said, maybe somebody from your past is going to call you. Maybe you see something before it happens. I always say trust your intuition, trust your gut, because intuition is the language of the soul. Intuition is trusting that language of the soul. Intuition doesn't speak in Spanish or English or French or Italian, just like the universe doesn't speak in those languages. Those are human conditions. It speaks in the terms of feeling, impressions, energy, vibration, frequency. So work with that a lot more. A lot of times, weather, weather was a predicted model until scientists actually started going up. We watched a fun movie called The Aeronauts about how just taking a hot air balloon back up in the 1800s to get to a record at that time was 23,000 feet. We fly at 30,000 feet, and we don't think anything different of it when we go on an airplane. But in order to get to the predictive models of weather that we have today, sometimes it was just precognition, like I feel like it's going to snow tomorrow because my joints are sore. I'm just feeling really sore, and maybe it doesn't snow in your area, but all of a sudden you're like, I think it's going to snow. So that's precognition, and those are examples of precognition. And it's just for you. It's more about what feels right. It's things that you see. Your dreams are really big. In ancient times, people relied on prophets to tell them future events. And people come to me as a psychic, as the work I do, and they say, what's my future hold? And I tell them there are road markers along the roads of life that I can give you, things that I may be glimpsing or seeing. But I also remind them that the best part about our future is that it comes one day at a time. And that's the given day right now. That's from Abraham Lincoln. So, plant the seeds today for the future you want tomorrow, but know that that future is not guaranteed. But this has been going on since ancient times. Some believe that the future could not be changed. There were others that believed that due to free will, the future could be changed if given those prophecies to allow that ripple effect, that energy, that action, that process to take place. But it's really, precognition is just about future events, things that you may get a glimpse of, things you may have a hunch about. Just like yesterday's Super Bowl, I don't know if I was right or wrong until it caught up to the timeline. I predicted 31-17, Kansas City Chiefs. I was seeing Patrick Mahomes holding up the trophy. Now, was I going to play out? Didn't know. I had to wait for that timeline to catch up. And if I would have been wrong, and I've been wrong in the past, there would have been a lot of people that would have let me know that you weren't right, and that's just part of the game replayed. But as far as when it comes to quantum physics, which I study quantum physics as well, the theory holds that given the correct information about the future by precognition, one can use free will at the present time to alter future conditions. So the future can actually cause the past with quantum physics, which they call retrocausality or backward causality. Is that, this is something that highly is interesting to people as well, because science now is moving into some of these theories, these hypotheses about causality, about precognition and seeing something and changing your actions based on what you're seeing. So, and then, after all, who wouldn't want to know how they could use the future to alter their current situations in a much favorable way? I know that I would. So, just wanted to share a little bit about what precognition is. Wanted to talk about palindrome because it's something that it hasn't happened in 909 years. Won't happen in my lifetime again for another. If I live to be 140 some years, then I'll see another one. But hopefully, I won't be around for that long, because it won't happen for another 101 years. But if anybody is having precognition, I just want to point these out, that these are maybe some signs that you are having precognition. Something that triggered for me after I lost my brothers and my father-in-law and had a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood trauma, and it all kind of packaged up and came together to kind of unlock that door that had been closed for several years. And some signs that you may have precognition, thought, future, hunches, is vivid dreams that you remember. I always say write your dreams down, and the dreams can be a really, especially if they're vivid dreams with details, colors, clothing, words that might be said, your surroundings. Write those down, because vivid dreams can be a sign of precognition, to where you catch up to the moment and you're like, I resonate with this, but I don't know why I resonate. Did I dream about this? Is this deja vu? And if you go back and have a dream journal and read it down, it can help you see that timeline. And that is also a form of precognition, messages from the other side or the universe, whatever your belief system is. But I always remind people to begin writing their dreams down as soon as you wake up. Don't wait later, because your dreamscape goes within the first 10 minutes. 50% of it's gone within the first 20 minutes. Almost 90% of it has gone out the door. And I have to discipline myself to even do that, because I can get my day going. But another sign that you may have precognition is unexplained anxiety. Unexplained anxiety is just you start feeling fidgety. You may be tapping into your precognitive ability because you're not sure why you're feeling like this, but you just understand, like, I don't want to get on this airplane. I just feel weird about it. You may not know, but you may have unexplained anxiety around it. You just know things. Mothers, I say mothers have precognition all the time. They can see where their children are in danger. They know that their children are up to no good. Mothers have that connection to life that men don't have necessarily, that they just know things. Like, there's just no getting away. There's no getting around it, and mom knows best. That's why that term comes up. So those are just a few signs. Your dreams, unexplained anxiety. You just may be aware of energy. You may read energy. You may actually see energy. You may actually feel energy. That actually, some people are actually sensitive to that. Precognition can scare some people because they don't want to know about the future, which I totally understand that. And I always remind people, though, that operating in precognition does not have to be scary. It's the gift that you can admire and cherish. And for some people to begin operating in that precognition, it's simply a sign that you're spiritually evolving at a rapid pace and that you're transforming and opening up to something bigger than yourself, just like yesterday's Super Bowl. So those are just some tips about precognition. I thought I'd share those with you. A quote I want to give you is foresight. Creativity is precognition. Creativity is prediction. Creativity is premonition. That's by Anura Kabalini, and it's just a great quote about foresight, and we could all use a little bit of foresight in this day and age. So I do want to give you your animal totem animal spirit for the week, and then we're going to be moving over to the Healing Cafe in here just in about 2 minutes, where I'll have a direct conversation with you. Get in the queue, because the queue can fill up pretty fast, and I go in line in the Healing Cafe, readings, inspirations, mantras, mediumship, psychic, all of that. But your totem animal spirit for this week is the mouse. So pay attention if you see any mice, and some of you may not like mice. Pay close attention to the details as not to let anything important escape your attention. It's time of plenty for you, yet one that requires vigilance in order to avoid any diminishment or significant loss. If you see the mouse, you may be missing something that is obvious and right in front of you. And also, it's an appropriate time to have scrutiny around what's going on in your life, and maybe move away from knowing your strengths, getting away from opinions, judgments, and focusing on the attention of others is for when the mouse shows up. So pay attention to the mouse. If the mouse shows up this week, whether it's in real life, in a movie, in a magazine, those are just, totem animal spirits are just the way that the world of nature can connect to us in many cool. I've had so many experiences, guys. I could sit here for 5 hours and tell you all the experiences I've had connected to nature, animals. I just had one last week where I pulled a towel out of the towel closet, and a bee actually was on the towel, and the bee fell down. And it's January, and I'm thinking, why the heck is a bee in my closet surviving? It was still alive. I was walking around. I went to get a lid to take it outside because it was a honeybee, and when I came back, it was gone. So I had to look up the meaning of it. What the heck did that mean? And it was a pretty cool message and right in line with what I was going through. Your card this week for numerology is the relationship change. It's a 56 energy, so that's an 11 energy. So that just means teaching. People are lessons and blessings, and sometimes both. But just pay attention to your relationship change this week with yourself, with the world around you, with your current relationships, your family members, your friends, your coworkers. And then the quartz is the crystal for this week. It's called the Phantom Quartz. It looks very similar to this kind of quartz. This is the Phantom. This is very much like a Phantom Quartz here. This is a clear quartz here. But the Phantom Quartz is really just, it's very, easily obtained. It's not very expensive at all. And it is a universal awareness crystal. So if you really want to open up your precognition and, excuse me, and start working with precognition, these type of crystals, oh my God, sorry, got choked up here. It just means it's time for coffee. But the Phantom Crystal is really good for opening up the awareness to universal energy. It's also to stimulate healing for the planet, because the planet carries a lot of these. Have you ever been to the crystal caves down in Mexico? There are crystals this size, the size of buildings. So the earth itself is built on these crystals. So it comes from the earth, so it helps heal the earth, but it also helps open up a universal awareness. So if you're interested in working with crystals. So that's your totem animal spirit for the week. Your numbers, numerology is 11, 5, and 6. 5 is get out there and be that freedom, love, and adventure. 6 is that self-love. 11 is inspirational teaching. And then, of course, the mouse. Pay attention to the mouse and the Phantom Crystal. So, again, thank you for joining me this morning. I'll be back here in about a minute for the Healing Cafe. That's my way of giving back every week and connecting with people all around the world. I love doing what I do, and so please share out. Please subscribe. Please like the page. Get on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link in my YouTube channel if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, follow my show, Inspired Living Radio, over on the Om Times Radio Network. You can also open up Positive Living, which is through Alexa or Echo. And I'd love to work with you in the future. If not, thanks for hanging out with me today on the show. I hope that you have a fantastic week. And I'm just going to leave you with one more quote here. Pay attention to your dreams. They could be telling you the things that you need to know. And with that, have a great week, everybody. Be kind, be caring, be compassionate. And until our next soul adventure together, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. I'll see you next Monday for Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. And stick around, coming back for the Healing Cafe in about 1 minute.